Hey guys, on today's episode of the Bucuzzo podcast, I'm joined by Danielle, content creator on TikTok, who's building her platform through faith, fitness, and consistency. We're going to talk about her creation journey and how she went from making videos using her gifts as she shares and stayed rooted in her faith as she navigates social media and what that looks like as a content creator without compromising who she really is. So this episode is for anybody that wants to, add faith into their content and is questioning if they should. So this should be an impactful video for you. So stay tuned here on the Cuxo podcast. Stay tuned.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about
That's
yourself?
good. I'm doing okay. It's been a busy day, but I certainly know I'm always alive every day.
Right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had my youngest is one. Well, he was one as of yesterday, so we had a birthday party
Oh,
at a
okay.
park and it's setting up and getting everything, and it was like a party right before the that we were where we were at. So it's like trying to set up for people showed up. So that was
Yeah,
fun.
I have been there. Well, I used to be an early childhood teacher back a long time ago. Yes, those age
Okay.
groups.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And my oldest is 6, and my
Okay.
middle child is 3. So
Okay. You got your
nice
hands
those
full.
nice.
Yes. Yes. Keeps you busy.
Yeah, yeah. No, they really definitely do. And I work from home, so I'm like always around them too. So
That's good. Yes.
yeah.
That's a blessing.
Well, I definitely want to thank you for coming on my podcast here.
Well, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy your content. I I
Well,
I
thank
look
you.
I look forward to it every morning. I'm like, what devotion am I gonna get this morning with Danielle or yeah, your energy and how super energetic you are with like your workouts. I'm like, is she gonna run at a park or up a hill or open field?
There's no telling. Sometimes I think I have it planned out in my head, and then when I wake up in the morning or throughout the day, it kind of changes. And even with the devotional, sometimes God puts something different on my heart
Yeah,
to say.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Well, that's
he's
awesome.
interesting like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very funny how the messages just kind of come across. I probably I think the one that sticks out the most, and probably the first time I ever felt like God put a Bible verse in front of me, I
Mhm.
was installing washers and dryers, and it was interesting because like I walked into the apartment because the resident wasn't there. All the lights were off except like a little night light, and like it was like kind of shining down on. It was like something for the movie. It was like on shining down on the Bible, and it had and the what stuck out to me was I believe it was Matthew 6 starting around like 30-32, where it talks about like, oh, come to me ye that are heavy laden, I will give you rest. And like at the moment I was like stressed out about, but I don't even remember what it was, to be honest with you, but like that stuck out to me. Like, so that was probably like the first time that like God put out like a Bible verse in front of me without me really even looking for it. It was just I just happened to walk by and the light was shining on it. So
Wow. Yeah, that was a sign, especially going in to do some work, and then there that it.
yeah.
What are the odds
Oh
of
yeah.
that? Okay.
Well, cool. Cool. I know I blocked out like about an hour at a time. I don't want to take up
Okay.
the rest of your evening. So I have a little bit of a kind of a layout. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I guess again, thank you again for coming on the podcast. But if you don't mind, just kind of introducing yourself and who you are and how long you've been doing content creation, and what inspired you to kind of start on TikTok or just any of the platforms that you're currently on.
Okay. Well, to start out, my name is Danielle Evans, and I'll dive right in first about the content. Actually, tell you the truth, what really got me on the TikTok was a coworker of mine. I was already doing videos and workout and different stuff. She's like, but I was having trouble linking up the music, and she's like, you can do TikTok and do all that because I wasn't paying for stuff, and that's how. And then just moving forward, that's how I really got into it. but really doing the devotionals and really sharing my love for the Lord and everything, I actually had experience. I just was going through stuff like I've always been a believer, but still had a lot of questions. Not so much God exists or Jesus, but what is my role? What am I supposed to
Yeah.
be doing? And I was actually running on the trails, and I was just saying, "Okay, God, use me." And then I've always said I want to be in tune to the earth, and He gives you what you want.
Yep. Well,
Um, it's not sometimes how you vision it, but
mhm.
and I kid you not. So that moment when I was just talking to him, I was on the trail. I'm that person. I'm talking. I kid you not. It's like time stood still for a second, and I didn't have any cameras on me at this moment because I think this was supposed to be a personal moment. But all of a sudden, I was covered in butterflies. I said, "I wanna be in tune to earth. I'm here to do your work." I was covered in butterflies. Yeah, and I've told the story to a few people, and then as fast as it happened, it was like it was gone. I kinda stopped for a minute. I was like, "Okay, am I really what's going on? Am I crazy?" And then next day, I just started opening up the Bible and doing devotionals, not on TikTok at that point yet, but just on Instagram and Facebook, and then just random people that I talk to. And I send out morning messages. So since then, and I've been just growing even more in that. But I had that weird experience.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still can't pinpoint exactly, but I wasn't scared. It was comforting. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how that happened. But I've always been a motivator and I like to think of a leader, but I have a motto. I'm a leader when needed, but a follower when there's something new to make me a better leader.
Right. Right.
And that's something I've always brought into the classroom or into my everyday life because they don't know everything. And I believe we should stay coachable.
Right. Oh yeah.
Coachable,
100%.
but having discernment because not everything
Be
that's
careful. You have to be careful because
even.
you know words are very powerful. That's why I've never liked that whole sticks and stones may break my bones because
Oh,
it's
don't do
like
that.
yes, I have been hit with a soccer ball straight clocked in the face and I get
Uh-huh.
over it. But
Yes.
if you told me you didn't like me when I was a kid, I'd be upset for a week. So it's like the comparisons is crazy and how much a word can destroy who you are entirely if you think of somebody as high, like that highly of versus
Mhm.
physical pain. Again, getting hit with a in the face with a ball or getting hit with a baseball bat, two different kind of pains take longer to heal, but still, like we can kind of pinpoint how long it's gonna heal for. But
I
words,
agree.
they can haunt you for your entirety. So
There's power in the tongue, as they say. Yeah. Um, Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I actually have never even really said that to even my any of my students that I've had because I'm not going to judge where your pain comes from the words that are said to. And I actually had one little girl tell me one time because I was watching. I had some mean girls. This was kindergarten
yeah,
when I was teaching kindergarten, and I said to her, I said, "Why don't you, I'm not going to tell you who to be friends with, but don't you want to be where people uplift you and, are kind?" And, she said to me, she said, "I do, and I want them to like me, but if maybe I give kind words and show them how to be kind, then they can learn from me." This is a kindergartner.
yeah, yeah.
I had tears in my eyes. And so yeah, that it was just a reassurance and just a good reminder that you're never too young or old to learn and just to and understand that.
Yeah, kids will keep you humble. I think kids will keep you humble, and like older people will keep you humble, like in the process. Because at first you don't know, you're so young, you just don't know I can't say this to that person or this that because you're just a kid. And then like you're older, you've lived through so many generations, you just don't care. So like those are two people that definitely humble you. My daughter, like she came up to me. Now she's 6 in kindergarten. And I don't know what we were talking about. And I was actually talking to my mother-in-law about this and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I need to survive this." And I'm like, "Survive this?" It's not like a crazy word, but just how she used it in the right context it was interesting.
So they're always listening.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've
They
learned that the hard
yeah,
way.
yeah, because I was joking one time. We were all sitting in a circle. This again when I was teaching early childhood. This was about maybe 8 years ago. we were sitting in a circle, and I forgot exactly what we were reading, but the character had changed her name or something. And so I was just joking and saying, "Oh, well, I'm not going to be Miss Evans anymore. I'm going to be Brown Sugar." I just said that because the color of my skin. Well, one of the students who I happened her his mom was a teacher too, so she was telling me a story. They were at the dinner table, and I had her son in my class, and he's telling his dad, "We got to get Brown Sugar a Christmas gift." He didn't know what he was what he was talking about. Now, of course, my coworker knew, his mom knew because I would, but yeah, so we were just joking, but I didn't. He took it seriously that was my new name.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. It doesn't
yeah,
take much. Doesn't take
but
much.
no, it doesn't. And I do know you asked me to tell you a little bit about myself, so I'll get back to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, no, that's fine.
Because sometimes I don't know, it's easier to ask people about themselves than to give. But so I'm a Texan, born and raised.
Okay.
My parents are not from here. My mom is Canadian. I'm first American generation on her side, and my dad passed in December, but he was originally from Meridian, Mississippi, and they met on a blind date and we were together ever since.
And here you
Yeah.
are.
Yes, and my background, because we were talking about faith and different things. Anybody who comes to my videos, I mean, it's pretty obvious that I'm a
Yeah,
believer.
yeah.
I was baptized as a baby in the Episcopal Church, went to Catholic school, kindergarten through high school, went to Episcopal Sunday mornings and Baptist Sunday evenings. So I don't claim a religion. I believe it's relationship,
Yeah.
but I'm a follower of Christ. So that's basically how I describe myself in that. Currently, I'm not teaching at the moment. I am subbing. Back in 23, I had to resign to take care of my parents. My dad had cancer and my mom has Alzheimer's. And then also with the cancer and doing the chemo, it triggered dementia in my dad.
Yeah.
So I had to, but
Take a
I'm
step back.
enjoying subbing. Yes. And then before that, I did nonprofit for 10 years, but always still centered around youth. And with that too, I worked with juveniles. So I led boot camp back when boot camp when we were more allowed to have it. And then currently now, I still am with the criminal justice system, but I'm doing with Bridges to Life prison ministry. So every Thursday
Okay.
night, I joke I'm in the prison.
That's awesome. That's a big array of, like, different things throughout your life for sure, being teacher to subbing and helping in, prison ministries now it sounds like, and
Yes.
yeah, that's I've only ever been to a Catholic church,
Uh-huh.
and, well, I guess technically our church is a Baptist church, but I'm like you, I don't tell you I'm Baptist or Catholic or I'm just Christian, the
Yes.
follower of Christ. That's my belief. That's where I stand. I just think that when you get entwined with all the different I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, I just no, I'd rather just be Christian.
Right. No,
And to
I'm up with you on that.
know how many people don't know the difference too. Like, being a Christian is a lifestyle, it's not a
Yes.
religion.
Thank
Like,
you. Yes.
that's a big it's a big misconception that a lot of people do not understand.
Uh-huh.
And I used to hear it as a kid. Like, I remember I'd be, "Oh, yeah, they're Christian over there, and we're Catholic." And I'm like, "Oh, man, they must be completely different." And then, like, as I get older, I'm like, "Oh, wait, they believe in, the same Messiah, they believe in Jesus. What's the difference?" And it's just I think that a lot of Catholics, a lot of Hispanic communities, they're all traditional Catholics. Like, they just go to the same church because their mom went to the same church and their grandma went to the same church. It was just traditionally entwined in their families.
Yeah.
Um, a lot
Well,
of my family's like that.
that's how my mom's parents see. In Canada, it wasn't a racial issue. It was more religions. And my grandma apparently was Catholic. And up there, my grandfather, I'm not directly sure what he was, but it wasn't Catholic. So they ended up going to the Episcopal, which is the Protestant. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that I had a foundation laid for me and I was taught. But as I got older, I've learned a lot more. And, too, religion comes down to it's a lot more of the rituals, and but no, I constantly see it on here online all the time, people debating and going back and forth. And we're not supposed to be arguing. We're supposed to be sharing the gospel. We're not supposed to be arguing back and forth. So, and with all that happening, no wonder why I'm sometimes people look at Christian, you know, Like we crazy. And I've gotten it's been a minute, but I've actually gotten hate and I've gotten some death threats before.
Really? Oh,
Oh yeah. Yes. So
no, that must be a crazy situation to have to deal with. In an open how in a world where you're supposed to be, openly believe whatever you want. The moment you say something that somebody disagree with, they're like, "No, you have to. We got to get rid of you." But I mean, if we look at Jesus' story,
yeah.
that's kind of par for the course to as being a Christian. That's if the originator of Christianity had to go what he went through, what can we expect of what us as followers of the same person could go? I mean, look at the disciples, going down as martyrs, so
Yes. I mean, I just get chills even just thinking about that, you know. But it's this crazy world.
yeah,
I don't know.
back to your story about the butterflies. That's crazy because you said like you have to be careful how you ask God because the way He presents it's gonna be different. But how amazing would it be like butterflies, like such a beautiful insect that's like portrayed as this very kind of like majestic almost like insect. You see it flapping its wings, and I mean, there's a whole theory, the butterfly effect, that a flap of a
Right.
butterfly's wings can alter a storm.
Mhm.
That's crazy, but that's amazing. That's a crazy story. That's cool.
Yeah, because the stages, they go through stages, and even anytime, like when I send an emoji, or even on my names on my social media, there's a butterfly attached to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was there even before this experience happened. I would always use that emoji and stuff, but it's just something about, like, well, you said it perfectly about the butterflies. So I just thought that was very interesting that that experience happened like that. So
Yeah. So you started off doing more like fitness kind of content, and then you
yes.
kind of started, migrating into maybe mixing in your faith as well, right? Was that scary or like uncomfortable at first? Like you felt like, should I really do this? Should I not?
Um, that's an interesting question. No, but no, it wasn't scary, but I will admit, when I do, not now, but in the beginning, I never experienced the much hate as I had.
Mhm.
Like, really, I mean, I didn't live life like, oh, happy go lucky, just my head's in the clouds, but I experienced more of how a lot of people are against it. And so, and I've learned more about myself to push forward with it. But no, I've always been one to no, I'm a believer. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. So no, that has never been scary to say. So, but it's just, I think I was a little taken back a little more about, and then praying and really how to respond, because I do have sarcastic humor. I don't use it in my response, but I'm
Right.
still myself.
Yeah.
But that's probably been the biggest, is how do I respond but still stay true to being made, well, Christ like, as best as I can
I gotcha.
be. Yes.
Okay. How has God shown like up through your content? Have you ever had a moment where like you're like, I guess that would be my question. Like you you're going through this, like has God revealed himself to a certain like reassured you that like to keep going with what you're doing, especially with like all the different situations that you've gone through?
Yes, and actually, on some occasions, some of the messages
Mhm.
that are sent privately that I had no idea someone was going through, or even people that I know close personally that I've never really heard them talk about God or do this, but they'll say, "Hey, thank you," or "Hey, I never thought about this," or some of the messages I would get, words that God had put on my heart that I would hear exactly from them. But sometimes I just get this, how to put it? I'm a big believer that our intuition is really, especially for believers, attached to the Holy Spirit. And I just get this, it's hard to explain sometimes, but this calmness. I don't know if that's the way, like, yeah, this is what you need to do. You need to push forward and just do it, but a calmness comes over. But I will say too, in the process of that, when you were saying, how does God show up? There's times too that a lot of obstacles where the enemy has tried to stop um, me from doing things and recording and doing especially. So I really am up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
They
well,
that
I
spiritual.
was gonna touch on that a little bit later, but I was like,
Okay.
yeah, that's not just you turn have the lights off or anything like you're like legit get up super
Yeah,
early and you have that consistency and routine.
I do, but I'm gonna tell you, um there's a lot at 3 o'clock in the morning. They say that's the spiritual hour. You can feel it. I've been more in tune with that. And sometimes when I'm getting ready to record or I'm going over the Bible verse or I'm just having my prayer time, I kid you not, even like sometimes I'm at the kitchen table before I go outside and do that, or I'm outside and I'm just sitting and thinking for a minute. You can feel the wind blow gently. So, or I just get this like warm feeling. And I know like, hey, okay, it's time. So yeah, a lot is just just little things. I guess that's the best way to explain. But I'm wide awake too. I can tell
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a few like cuz being social media and you have all these different like trends and
Oh,
things you can do. I'm just going to like shoot out some random I have 5.
okay.
So I just need you to say, do you entertain it? You leave it alone, and like why
Okay.
you're doing each one. First one's TikTok, right? A trend
Yes.
sound that just doesn't align with your values.
Oh, I don't do it.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I don't do it. And then even if I hear a song that sounds, I'll research first
yeah,
for, yeah.
yeah.
So no, if it doesn't align, I will not do it.
Okay, okay. What about a brand deal that pays well but just doesn't represent what you stand on, which kind of ties in a little bit with what you just said, but a brand deal that would pay
Okay. So
well.
again, no, I'm gonna give you two examples and I'm going to post this too on my social media. So this person, they're not well known, but they're going to hear it. So but I'm bold about it. I have a friend that has a clothing line that I have worn and shown, but the more I know that they're not believers and have in a roundabout way mocked, I don't do it anymore. I mean, the videos are out there, but I stand on that.
Yeah,
Just like I don't wear Nike.
yeah,
I got some issues with that.
yeah.
And they haven't asked me, but I'm just saying I'm one who will stand. I try my best. I'll stand strong on not doing something if it doesn't align.
Well, I think that's why, like even Stephen Curry, that's why he's with Under Armour because he has Bible verses on his shoes. So Nike did not stand. They didn't. That was like one of his requirements, and that's why he went with Under Armour because they allowed him to do it. So,
Yeah.
what about just viral challenges? Like just whatever the latest challenge is. Do you just like look at it and, or do you also research like what's the whole purpose of this challenge before you just kind of do it? Because I haven't seen you do many challenges. I've seen you're very I will say I'll give you props. Everything I've looked and researched about algorithms and this and that, I'm still trying to figure all that stuff out myself. But the the main thing that I see everywhere is consistency. And when I say you've got the consistency down pat, you definitely have the consistency because your videos they all fall kind of in the same flow and they're entertaining every time too. It's not like, oh, I'm just
Thank
gonna get the same thing. Like it's the same thing, but I'm like, okay. That's why I said I'm like, is she gonna run on open field? Is she gonna run
Yeah.
up a hill? Is she gonna be at the park? So I will say that's I just want to give you that props. But just like viral challenges, like
No, there was only one, and this was back when we were all at home because of COVID. Like, where I'm bored in the house bored. Someone sent me a challenge to do that, and I did juggling because that soccer is my first love. So, but other than that, I don't really do any of the viral challenges. And also, I believe I was a victim of one of them. So,
really
car when they were stealing the Kias using the USB.
the Kia boys or whatever those guys are called.
Yes, I had mine.
Wow. Were you able to get it back or you just
Oh yeah, praise God. The only thing that was messed up was the steering wheel a little bit, and I had and everything covered. But yeah, I was actually it was about 2:45 in the morning. I was getting ready to go to the gym, and I'm looking outside. I'm thinking my car is not there. The first
man?
was my mom took it and moved it to the back with the all time. That's when my first thought. No, we got it taken care of. But yeah, no, that's how they got it. They didn't break. Sorry, she's looking at me right now. They didn't break any glass or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how they got it.
That's crazy that that's even like something you have to deal with outside of our apartment complex. like where the mailbox is,
Uh-huh.
there was legit a sign that said if you have a Kia, it was another brand. Was it Hyundai or yeah, like it was Kia and Hyundai, I think. And they're like, if you have these cars, make sure you lock in them. Don't leave any valuables and stuff. And I'm like,
Right.
that's wild.
Well,
That's
yeah.
wild.
Well, you go when I went to go get the look at the car at the pound, the police pound. You saw rows of Kias,
Wow.
like rows of them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what about clapping back to the haters in the comments? So do you typically entertain them, or is it like it has to get to a certain like thing where you're like, I have to say something, or most of the times you're just like, just water off a duck's back?
I'm in the middle. For most of the time, I just ignore, but I do my response videos, but I do it for educational purposes. I'm not yelling, I'm not cussing, and most of the time when I am having to do a response back, I will use scripture to back it up. But I will admit, and I'm smiling. A lot of times, I am gonna say something, especially when the Hebrew Israelites come after me. The men, yes,
Yeah.
but no, I'm not gonna come cussing or
Yeah. Yeah.
being disrespectful or any of that.
Yeah. You're just gonna talk about what the point is, not just getting caught up in the drama.
Right. I do use a little sarcastic sometimes because I had a few people tell me about you can't use Jesus and Trump in the same line. And so I did come back and said, but you are a pagan witch telling me how to talk about Jesus.
Right.
So I mean, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes it's probably the best is you give it power to a certain extent by engaging in it, which we all are horrible at avoiding. We just feel like we have to say something or like, God forbid this, but most of the time I try to be like for me, so my pastor, he we share this one commonality. We
Uh-huh.
write out the comment and then we just erase it. So like if I see something I don't agree with, half the time I just ignore it, move on. But sometimes I'm like I feel like I have to say something. And in the midst of me saying it or typing it out, because it's not like I'm having the conversation with them, I'm just typing it on whatever post. I'm like, this isn't even worth it. And I'll just delete all. And I've written sometimes I'm like, I'll write some stuff out. And then I'm like, no, no, this is not worth it.
I've done that. I've
Okay,
done
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. I think the last one I have is, I mean, I think they all been pretty similar. So I'm just going to leave that one out because it just said creating content. Do you create content just because it's trendy or like you actually like, do you have to be, do you have to feel led to create it, but
Let
led? Okay.
Yeah. Do it.
So you stay away from all what I'm getting is you don't go with any kind of trend. You're kind of your own niche. I said it right.
Yes, you did.
And that's good. That's good. There
One
goes
more
that.
stuff. Oh, sorry. I will add now a couple of times there, like when you asked me about songs and different stuff. I've seen some songs and people have done trends to it, but I may use a song because I research it was good, but I'll put it to athletic, like doing my soccer ball or doing the movements and stuff
Mhm.
like that. That's the only other time. But no, I don't feel led to follow any of those.
Okay. What position did you play in soccer?
Sweeper,
Sweeper.
sweeper, yes, and then as an adult, midfield because I
Okay.
was in shape. Yes,
So you moved up from the back and went to the middle, huh?
uh,
I
yes, and then
I
goalie.
grew up playing soccer. I was a defender as well.
Yes.
My middle school, we played the diamond in the back, and it was like because in middle school, if I can remember correctly, I was out of all the defenders, I was a little taller,
Mhm.
and so we had it was called stopper. So it was
Yes,
just the stopper. So I played stopper, and then in high school, our coach the year that I did play, he was new. So it was like he was trying different things out, different formations and stuff. We just had a back four, and I
uh-huh.
always played I guess more of a center back. And then one time we were just destroying this team, and he's like, "Hey, Louise, just go play wing." I'm like, "What? I'm not a midfielder. I'm not a wing." But I mean, we were dominating the game, so it wasn't like it would have hurt. But I look back at my sporting experience, and I realized how much I didn't apply myself in sports.
Uh-huh.
And I realized I have this vivid memory. I was in 8th grade playing soccer, and I just blew past everybody.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was never, like, the most amazing soccer player, but I started off in offense and just somehow made my way back to defense, and, again, we were playing a team that we were just destroying, and, like, I'm just making my way through, and it was just me and the goalie, and my buddy, he was coming up from the left-hand side, and I had 2 options. I could shoot or
Uh-huh.
I could pass, but, of course, he's offsides because he's behind the
Yeah.
last player. And, like, I passed the ball offsides, and then, like, after that, I didn't get any kinda other scoring opportunity, and then one day, like, I will say probably about 2 years ago,
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but that was, like, just haunting me a certain extent, and I say haunting, it wasn't really haunting me, but just that memory was just so vivid, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to learn from this?" Like,
Mm.
what am I supposed to learn? And then I realized I was like, I did all the work and I didn't close. I didn't finish. I wanted somebody else to do the last bit because I didn't trust myself enough. I trusted myself enough to get past all everybody else and all the other players. But when it came down to what it really mattered, in which is scoring the goal, I caved in and I passed it. And then, of course, when I did that, he was offside, so we didn't score. And
Yeah.
since then, I don't know. Like I just felt like I allowed that to kind of become my identity to a certain extent. So
Mm.
it affected like every other decision that I would do. Maybe I wasn't as aggressive with certain things. Not aggressive like just me, just like aggressive, put more and to be more intentional behind a lot of things. And I always anything new that always came up, I was like, oh man. And then I always put more faith in the thing than in me. And
Mm.
that's why like I started this podcast because I had asked a few people to start a podcast with me. And
Uh-huh.
and if they listen to this, I'll reiterate. I said it, I think, a few episodes ago, but I'll say it again. I'm not mad at them because they didn't do it. I
Uh-huh.
understand, like maybe they already had some stuff going on. It was just not the right time. But I told myself if I don't start it, I'm never gonna overcome that thing that's been in the back of my mind for all these years of that soccer play. So yeah, that just when we start talking about soccer, I always remember that. Like that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on this podcast. That's why I'm like
That's cool.
I sent you a message. I was like, man, I've sent her a message before, and she responded. I was like, let me send her a message about if she wants to be on the podcast. And I ask everybody. I'm people at church. The worship leader, Meredith. She's like, when we going? Actually, I just saw her the other day. She's like, when we gonna do our episode? I was like, well, I have to be a Wednesday or a Sunday. And she was like, oh, you don't want me on a Sunday, guy. She spent 3-4 hours singing. But yeah, no, I ask everybody now, and I just want to put the faith in me, and I don't know where this is gonna go. I don't know. I might make 4 more episodes, 1 more episode. I might not even do it again, but at least I know that I took the chance on me. So
I like that. And you're easy to talk to. And what you said reminded something that I started implementing a while back. But you know how people go, "Why is this happening to me?" I changed it to, "What am I supposed to learn from it?"
right, right.
And
It's
that's
such a simple switch that changes your perspective because instead of like being like I guess it's when you're like, "Oh, why did this happen to me?" It's almost like you're, like, just dreading in it versus, like, "What am I supposed to learn through this?" Because even muscles, I was big into lifting heavy and into the gym. I need to get back there 'cause between 3 kids and eating good, I've gained quite a bit of weight. But, like, even building muscle, no matter at what sport, you're gonna have to break your body down to allow your body to come back stronger.
uh-huh.
And if we just make that connection, when something happens to us, like we realize, okay, what am I supposed to learn? And sometimes the thing is some things are they're not pleasant to go through. And I think that's the issue because people like comfort. I like
Yes.
comfort. I think everybody enjoys comfort, but if we're trying to move on to the next best thing, it's going to take some discomfort. So,
No, I
yeah.
agree. that growth doesn't happen when you stay comfortable.
Exactly. But so let's walk through like your actual routine, because I know we talked about you getting up at 3 in the morning. We know that's in the videos, but what is like a normal day for Danielle?
Okay, so I wake up and then I have my prayer time. It could just be like simple, just thank you for this brand new day, or I'm just giving them thanks. And after that, then I make my little notes for the day. Usually I've already meal prepped, but if I hadn't meal prepped, I'll do some extra and then I'll work out and then get ready and I'm heading on to the school. I sub at two main schools. So when I'm at school there and then when I get home, depending on what day it is, get dinner and stuff ready and or so one thing I do on the side too is I do train. That's not my main income or but I do train people too. So I would love for that to be a full-time thing. So if I have that to do, then I will do that. And then like I said, I take care of my mother. So
Okay.
sometimes my routine can change a little bit just depending on her mood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's being a caregiver on top of that, so you have everything that, you have going on in your personal life and work and career. On top of that,
Mhm.
taking care of somebody as well is it's a full-time that's a full-time job of its own, and it never stops. So it's not like you can just clock out of being a caregiver. You're there, it's,
Yes.
100% of the time. So
So, oh, and I forgot also too in the mornings, before I do go to work, I send out a morning message. I have some people that receive a morning message every morning. We just do that. But yeah, right now that's my life, and then working out. Like I said. But sometimes if I do it twice a day, I'm out. I love nature, so I love being out on the trails and just soaking in the natural vitamin D and yeah. And I'm a homebody too, so I like being at home.
yeah. Okay.
So
What
that's
what's a favorite scripture that you've come across here lately that kind of sticks out and just
yes.
forefront of your mind?
Um, so there's two, and I reference to it a lot lately. I am a big fan of Ephesians 6, the armor of God, verses 10 through 20, because it is just, when I really have dived into it, it's just been a game changer and understanding. And that's another, just so much more how we're not alone and just the aiding tools that he has given us. And then another one that has been sticking out a lot more lately too is I believe it's Matthew, I want to say 22. I don't want to say it wrong. I think 36 to 40, where he's talking about the greatest command, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Mhm.
But that last part, especially everything that's going on with, I've heard that scripture just thrown around. So with that being thrown around, I've just been really diving more into really understanding exactly what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So those will be my two. And then and other scriptures have come up because I'm reading a book about how the Christian mind shaped Africa, how Africa shaped the Christian mind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, another a person here, well, Chat KB, he's on TikTok, amazing. One of the people that I follow that I've learned a lot, and he's what I guess you call the apologetics and talking. But I knew stuff about Christianity in Africa and stuff, but there's a lot I didn't know. And of course, I on a number of occasions I get it thrown at me. Well, Christianity is the white man's religion and all. I half the time I ignore it, but I also want to know so I can give extra information to those who think they know everything. So yeah.
Yeah, give them a different perspective to a certain extent. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
because I think that's I think at the end of the day, it's just different perspectives. And unfortunately, some perspectives are taught more than others. So it and actually we through therapy that here recently that I learned, a therapist said it doesn't matter how much information you give them. If they believe it, it's hard pressed to get them to think anything differently. So
No, that's true. That is very true.
yeah, so yeah, but it's funny you bring up the armor of God. Actually, I don't have a lot of tattoos, but
Mhm.
I do want to get a tattoo on this forearm,
Mhm.
and it's I'm still debating on what I want to get on it, but basically, I think it'll be cool to actually have kind of like a Spartan warrior to a certain kind of that same build, but like within each piece of its armor, give it the name of
Hey,
like
yeah,
yeah,
cool.
like the armor of God, and then originally I saw it was like a lion, but in front of the lion, it was like the soldier, and it was like that was its armor. So that's why I was like, oh, that's a kind of a cool connection. And then so I'll have to work with the tattoo artist that I went to last time, but that's kind of that's actually my goal for my birthday. Every time I've gotten a tattoo has been on my birthday. So we'll see here in about 4 months.
Oh, your birthday's coming up. Okay,
Yeah, in August, August, baby.
okay. Well, I'm a March baby.
Okay, so your
Yeah,
birthday happy belated birthday then.
thank you, thank you. Yes.
Um, so I definitely enjoy the songs and the dancing, right? That you in all your videos. Do you add that in there like just to as part of like your praise and worship when you're like because a lot of your songs are definitely like revolving around Christianity, which have been amazing songs. A lot of them never even heard of. Like there's some because I'm discovering more like Christian genre music.
Mhm.
Most of the times just elevation worship music, but because they're so just very that's where I happen to go to church and
Okay,
so but yeah, so is that just like part
that's
of
me.
praising that's just you being you and having fun?
That's yes, I'm even known to just I've randomly done that in my classroom when I
Yeah,
have
okay.
um yeah, but no, I'm with you. So the music, that's another I would say that I really liked about, there's pros and cons about social media, but TikTok or people will send me some music and stuff. Like I'll tell TikTok, I didn't know who Brandon Lake was, but I'm a fan. I'm actually I don't like going to concerts really. The last concert, showing my age, was back in '98 when Janet Jackson and Usher was upcoming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was in high school, but I think I'm gonna go to Brandon Lake. I think it'd be kind of interesting to go and see and just listen and everything. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's just
Brandon
something
Lake's
about
awesome. He's
yeah,
he's he's collab with Elevation. If it's the same Brandon
yeah,
Lake that I'm thinking
it
about,
is.
yeah,
It's
his Graves to Garden is a really great song. And then he's actually Sons of Sunday.
hmm.
It's Pastor Steven. It's Chris Brown, not Chris Brown, the R&B singer, but Chris Brown, the worship leader at Elevation. And then oh my gosh, Chandler from Maverick City, and I believe Brandon Lake. They're just making not it's not like music you'll probably hear like in a church setting, but it's like just walking that faith kind of music. So definitely, check them out. They're Sons of Sundays. They're on all platforms. But
But you just can't help I just can't help to dance when I hear the music. I'm that person when I'm in the grocery store too. Yeah, especially boy bands too, because I grew up in the boy band
yeah,
era
yeah,
too. New Kids on the Block.
Backstreet Boys and
Backstreet, yes, but I was in my 20s when it was Backstreet. So that's why I said New Kids on the Block was my first concert
okay,
ever at
okay,
9. So I'm showing my age.
yeah,
No, I'm joking because I'm that type of woman. I don't care. I embrace my age, but
okay.
I'll dance. Yes.
What's do you have any like goals that you're as a creator like that you have that you're trying to work towards like here the 2025 like what's the you have a big creator goal or is it just kind of just going with the flow at the moment?
Going with the flow at the moment. I keep saying this. I've done it maybe once or twice. I might do some lives. Um, so that part, if I say I have to set a goal as far as social media, I want to do probably some lives, some, excuse me, some workout lives, or just, I've seen other people do devotionals or praying or reading. So that would probably be, I have gone live before, but that's when I was in the classroom and I did story time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But no, just keep going and, whoever, I mean, it's cool when your videos get reshared. It's cool when people see, but if I can really just at least touch one person or have them here, then that's good enough for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I think that's should be everybody's goal, right? If you're creating content, I mean, of course there's some monetary aspects to it all, and then and all that stuff that comes with it for sure. There's, I mean, I'm just constantly seeing people post videos about, oh, I made this much with, on this platform or that platform, and that's great. I think that's fantastic because, why not? If it's something you can do, why not do it? Because if it's out there for somebody, you know, but
That's true.
that's cool. That's cool.
I've
Yeah.
debated whether to do that too. I'm not gonna say I haven't gotten some items off the TikTok shop, but yeah, yeah, no, I'm not yeah, I have, but I've debated whether or not to the product really has to be something of value and meaning to me to share. I have a few that I've purchased, so I think I might, but
I'd
no,
say do
just
it. I'd say do it. I mean, because and that's actually it's funny you bring that up because even the people that make content about like how to get started, that's another thing that they bring up. They're like, it has to be something that you would buy. You don't want to just if you're don't know nothing about microphones
uh-huh,
or you don't care about microphones or you don't use a microphone, it'll be hard pressed to like promote a microphone.
that's true.
Or like if you don't just don't if it's not your interest, you're not gonna be so energetic. But if it's something for you for like fitness and it could be just clothing lines like that, oh, I tried these shirt, this workout outfit and it's what are the common issues that people have when you're working out in clothes? Does it breathe well? Is it stretchable? Does it make you uncomfortable in different areas? So like when you talk about that stuff, it's very genuine and people want to believe that because you can see it online, but unless somebody tells you, oh, this is the issue in this area and you buy it, people are monetizing that. So definitely, if you feel like try one, see how it goes. You never know.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, and I'm really thinking of doing that. So because there are some products, like I said, that I really believe in, and I think they, yeah, especially that apocryphy book. I know people bought it with making the herbs. They say that with I've actually made some of them, so and they've actually worked. So they're not going back to just natural stuff. So just different things like that. Okay, I might think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
Thank you.
support you. We're kind of getting close to that hour mark. I said I'd try to keep it an
Okay.
hour, but where can people find you if they hear this and they want to start following you? Where can you be found?
TikTok. What's my TikTok thing? Hold on. You know what? I should have the stuff memorized, and I don't. Um, and that's another thing because I guess I just be getting on here and but on TikTok 8681 DEE. That's probably the main place to find me because I don't really. I have Instagram, Facebook, but I don't really check it. And Facebook is for our family and all that.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
I said, I'm being censored on Facebook right now. So
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
so just find her on TikTok. Don't go over to say don't go over to Facebook.
Yeah, you can, and it's just under Danielle Evan, but my main right now is TikTok.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, if you were to, I guess leave some encouraging words to somebody that wants to post content and regardless of their faith, right? Would they want to involve that into their content? Like, what will be some encouraging words? Because it's scary, right? Because we live in such a censorship, society, and like even you with all the stuff that's come your way, like, what would be some encouraging words that you would give to a creator?
Well, okay. So like I had told you about honesty and being genuine, I'm going to be honest. Especially if you are coming and you're talking about your faith, you're going to have a thick skin because we got what we call those keyboard cowards out there. But you have to stand strong in your faith and know that that is what you're meant to do. And do not get discouraged because believe it or not, people are going to hear you. And the right people, especially those who have an ear to hear, are going to hear you. And always stay genuine to who you are. So, like, if whatever you put out on content, this is from my personal
Yeah.
viewpoint of it. Whatever you put out on content, if someone was to meet you in person, are they going to see the same person?
Right. Right. So don't be
And
don't
so,
be fake in the front of the camera, and then because they're gonna believe who you are on camera, and then if you don't show that now, oh, I met this person, and they're nothing like I saw them in their video. So
Yes, it's well, and that's the other thing, especially don't get discouraged because if you are putting out there that you are a believer, that you are a Christian, but you how to put this, it's not an excuse, but you are still human come the end of the day. And you know, we all fall short. But the difference is understanding that repentance would change behavior or understanding self-reflection and, you know, looking at that, how can I change that to move forward?
Mhm.
I would just say stand strong in the faith, do not get discouraged, and just do it. Like you said, you just start and just do it, and then it'll become natural. And then ask questions. You can even make a video on asking questions. So
That's
I've
cool.
I've had that. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
would what I would say.
Well, sweet. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time. I know, Sunday and gotta get ready for the rest of the week, but I definitely appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me for a little bit and answering my questions. And
Well, thank
yeah.
you for asking. It's been fun, and I have to say, you're really one of the first podcasts I've done.
Oh, well, here's to more podcasts, even episodes with me. We'll come back in a little while and see how things are, or maybe we'll get some, you get some more invites. I think that'd be cool to go on somebody else's podcast. I mean, I get excited just asking people. So maybe one day I'll get asked to go on a podcast. So.
Do you ever go live
I
on?
don't. I haven't been live on a podcast. That's something I want to try.
Uh-huh.
I'm just because that way you get that live, interaction with people. Right now it's
Yeah.
just recording. So like today's episode, I'll for the rest of the evening I'll work on creating shorts and get the episode ready for tomorrow. So if I record Wednesday, I try to drop it Thursday. If I record Sunday, I'll try to drop it Monday. So yeah, I'll I'll definitely tag you on some content and
Okay,
we'll
thank you.
we'll we'll talk after.